1-0. Swung on, there it goes. Deep left center. That ball is high. It is far. It is gone. But caught.
You're listening.
Yeah, like all the time I'm listening.
WATP with Christian, Eric, and Carl sometimes.
Listen in your office, in your car, or even your neighborhood bar.
We're doing it. We're doing it. We're having fun. We're making it happen.
It's fun time.
Open your mouth, close your eyes. We're going to give you a big surprise.
And here it is.
Welcome to Who Are These Broadcasters? So excited to be here with each and every one of you today, bringing you a collection from the world of broadcasting. As always, I'm Christian Bladt, and look over there, it's Eric Zane. Hello, sir.
Hello, I've been here for hours.
I know you have. And joining us today, our returning champion, I believe this is his third appearance, the great Don Jamieson, whose new album, No Sleep Til McSorley, is, I believe, currently available for pre-order.
Aha,
Correct. Woohoo!
And look at that. It's a CD. I know a friend of yours that would only consume that album in that format. Of course, as the name implies, Don, it's a comedy show that you recorded at the great drinking establishment in Lower Manhattan, McSorley's Ale House.
Correct. Opened 1854. Sawdust on the floor kind of place. And it's great. You drink McSorley's ale and you solve the world's problems. And that's what I do on this album. So it was a natural fit for me to record it there.
Okay, so we put the album on, and then the world immediately isn't on fire, and everybody's happy. So that's great. I'm so glad you solved everything.
Yes.
And my favorite thing about McSorley's, and I have indeed been there many times, is that you have to buy drinks in rounds. And if you slow down, they're going to make you get up from your table. So at no time can you think like, "Ooh, I need to ease off a little bit." No, if you're there to drink, aren't you, Don?
Yeah, well, like if you go to Starbucks, you can sit in there for a week straight and not order anything, and they'll go, "Oh, it's okay, it's all right, we're accepting of everybody." If you go to McSorley's and you're drinking too slow, they're like, "Listen, you got to get out of here. We got people who want to drink. Goodbye." And they give you your check and you leave. If you order a Coke there, they throw you out.
as well they should. Yeah. If we're all ever in New York together, easy. We'll do the show from McSorley's. Clearly, you're able to record there. Eric, before we dive into all of our clips, please let the audience know how super chats work on this show right here.
Well, you're not going to be able to get on with any great regularity if you post stupid shit like "I need Carl here." So
that's not even how you spell his name, Allison.
Yeah, for fuck's sake, you idiot. The only way to make this happen is by throwing a dollar amount on there with the sign off that you want our pal Christian to say. Now, he's super uptight. You can't get a pin up his ass. So if he starts talking about what he wants to do in the gas chamber later on with his kids because you signed him off that way and put a high dollar amount on it, then boom, that's how it works. So don't go cheap. Throw some money at it and have Christian there sign us off properly.
Yes, the highest U.S. dollar amount is going to be my sign-off. Perhaps you want me to talk about my admiration for certain figures throughout history. German fella seems to come up a lot in the chat. Yeah. And obviously, as people know, my wife is Chinese-American, so please don't give me anything to say that might upset her or my delightful half-Asian children. Yes. With all that ramp up, let's dive into where we usually start the show, local news.
Others imitate it. We appreciate it.
WATP, who are these local newscasters? Who are these newscasters?
As long as you pay for it to Wired Christian, Himmler can always be in the running. So we have to very briefly revisit last week's eclipse. I know how much time we spent on it last week, but while we were doing last week's show, Principled Uncertainty was telling us to look for a very specific clip. I did need to have somebody blur it out before we could show it, but this is from Mexican broadcaster RTG, thinking that they're sharing some footage of the eclipse. Watch the female anchor's reactions. Yes, it's in Spanish, so we'll do our best to explain it for our audio audience. But watch the female anchor's reactions when they cut to this video.
Desde las 11:09 de la mañana, completamente a oscuras, estaría Mazatlán,
Sí.
Durango, Gómez Palacio, Lerdo, Nazas también en el municipio de Durango.
And
Torreón,
here it comes.
Monclova,
And
Musquis, donde
they
está mi
take
familia,
the light away from the camera,
y Acuña,
and you can see somebody's leg.
Serían los municipios donde
The chick on the left.
Y ese último video que mandamos es un video.
So, yeah, so if we had listened to Principled Uncertainty, we would have shown balls on this show. So we were glad that we could get the censored version. But so I'm sorry to let everybody down.
I wonder if it was like he like lifted his root to show the balls, or was he going down below?
So,
I mean,
in reading about this is apparently something that happens. Is the image does start with a light, and you see that he's got like a light in it. So somebody who starts playing it thinks it's legit, and then you do see a little bit of his leg not blurred out. So. Look, we love tomfoolery. We love people who mess around with the media. We might feature some of that later. Don, as somebody who has, I believe, 7 volumes of terrorizing telemarketers with your buddy Jim Florentine, obviously terrorizing local news is also fun in its own way, isn't it?
Absolutely. And if I may just add to the Super Chats explanation, if you'd like any of that money directed my way, please indicate that as well.
Yeah. Please.
All right, now let's get down to business. First of all, I only watch Mexican news because the ugliest woman on any Mexican newscast is the hottest chick in America. I mean, there's nothing under a 19 on a scale of 1 to 10 on any of those newscasts, especially the weather women. But yes, of course, this is a prank straight out of the Jim Florentine prank book, which is you take a flashlight and you put one of your big saggy balls in front of it and you send it off to Mexican TV where those female anchors are getting teabagged constantly, and it makes for a great reaction.
Yeah, your buddy Florentine is legendary for the level of sag that he has. Can you confirm or deny the fact that that was Florentine who sent them that video?
I cannot confirm or deny, but I can confirm if one testicle was embarrassingly larger than the other one, that would be a telltale sign of Jim Florentine's scrotal area.
Well, gentlemen, we all live in good neighborhoods due to our tremendous careers that we all have, but we've all been to bad neighborhoods. Let me know if you've ever been to a neighborhood, either of you or anyone in the audience. You've ever been to a neighborhood that's so bad that you're not even safe from crimes being committed by dogs.
Camera going at a car. The reason, trying to get to a cat. The owner of the vehicle woke up the next morning, found the fenders, the bumper, the tires ripped to shreds. No one could believe that this was the act of a couple of dogs until they saw the footage for themselves. The cat belongs to the woman's neighbor. Amazingly, it wasn't injured. The dogs have not been seen since. The damage to the car, though, estimated at $3,000.
Well, that's what you happen when, those kind of dogs move into your neighborhood, right?
Yeah, I mean, there goes the neighborhood. I mean, we've seen it a million times. I mean, my God, I'm not afraid to say it. It's those goddamn dogs. Trouble follows them everywhere. Fuck those guys.
Yeah, I mean, they don't stop at just getting the hubcaps off. They're like, no. Let's just fuck around with the car just for fun.
I bet you those dogs listen to rap music and other bullshit like that.
This not only are we in America divided as human beings, the animal kingdom equally as divided. cats and dogs are at each other's throats now. And I know for a fact, those two dogs, they were eventually captured and arrested, but there was no bail, so they were let out 2 hours later, only to destroy another car.
Yeah, and it's not going to end, John. It's never going to end. I'm sorry. What were you saying?
I was just going to say that's when the dog catcher puts his knee down on a dog. I don't care. I love that. I love that shit. Fuck
yeah, they were in and out of the pound in 2 hours.
Yeah,
it was disgraceful.
Well, look, there's a lot of shady business out there. There's a lot of shady operators, and yes, that's a clunky transition. But we all know that you probably shouldn't trust a tow truck driver as far as you can throw them. I don't know about either of you, but I've definitely had my car towed because tow trucks are like, we're going to tow it and ask questions later. I'm like, well, the sign clearly said I could park here, but I don't think any of us have probably ever had to deal with a tow truck that tried to grab us while we were driving.
Are you doing?
That's the sentiment from the man who witnessed what happened to Joanne and her husband as they drove through downtown San Francisco Tuesday morning.
We're at a stoplight and we're just minding
This is
our
the driver
own
explaining
business.
what
While the
happened.
couple were stopped
Here you
along
go.
Bush and Montgomery, they thought the yellow specialty towing truck was moving toward a nearby Waymo
He's
autonomous
inching
vehicle,
back,
but
trying
soon
to get under the
realized it
car.
was getting too close for comfort.
He came from the side. He started doing the reverse and all the lights came on. That's when we were like, okay, something is really wrong. And his lever came down.
The tow truck makes several attempts to hook on to their 2017 Toyota Corolla. When the light turns green, the Waymo next to them drives off. But Joanne, who requested we only use her first name, realizes her husband, who's driving, is stuck in front of this black sedan.
So here's the hero in this video. The black car that's like, oh, I got to get out of here.
Make sure that we get away.
Fortunately, the black car backs up and Joanne's husband is able to drive away.
So he drives
you can
away
see
and
the tow
watch
truck
what the tow
give
truck
chase. Joanne says for several blocks.
He's like, fuck
It's
you.
definitely really scary.
I'm towing you today.
I mean, how do they expect this to end? I mean, the people are in the car.
Yeah.
How could they get away with it? I don't understand what the end game here for this is.
And by the way, I heard your comment, Eric. Joanne seems like a nice lady. She wishes she was my wife. Okay. My wife is much younger than Joanne. So.
I mean, outside of like when they steal the car, do they then kill the people inside of it? Is that how you do this?
Well, that's, this is in San Francisco, and I believe this is how human trafficking works in San Francisco. You tow their car while they're in it.
It's gotten so bad there that they've actually created phony towing companies. I mean, come on, specialty towing. That's like Acme, like the Acme product company in the Roadrunner commercials.
Yeah, no, that's
specialty
like
towing just means we're stealing people's cars as they're moving.
It's like something that Tom Green would have done on his shows. Yes, we are specialty towing. We are very specialized in towing your car while you're in it.
Yeah, but I did feel bad for Mrs. Blatt there.
Again, she wishes she could get some of this. All right.
By the way, does she go by Mrs. Blatt? And if she does, how unfortunate is that?
It is actually. I tricked her into taking my last name, and her maiden name is her middle name. But again, that was not her. She should be so lucky.
And then later on, the tow truck driver crapped on the sidewalk. So add insult to injury.
Yeah, right, exactly. So he committed there was no shortage of crimes that he committed in San Francisco without getting cited for them.
Yes.
Well, keeping it in California, I have to shout out Libs of TikTok, phenomenal account. They brought this story to my attention and also to the attention of people all over the world. We're going to go to Bakersfield, California, and this is a lesson in something we call play stupid games, win stupid prizes. So first up, this is her name is Riddhi Patel. She's an Indian American, so clearly I'm not married to her. She's a supporter of Palestine, and this is the tail end of like a 4-minute, really angry rant. Again, this is in Bakersfield, California, at a city hall meeting, a city council meeting, and she wants them to pass a resolution on a ceasefire in Gaza. The Bakersfield City Council. So she's very upset that the Bakersfield City Council won't pass a measure on the ceasefire in Gaza. And she's also upset that as the tensions have gotten worse in the area, they now have to go through metal detectors. So that's all you need to know, which is a lot for the setup of this clip.
Of whether you elect people into office, they'll backstab you, they'll let you die, and for that reason, you guys want to criminalize us with metal detectors? We'll see you at your house. We'll murder you.
So,
speaker, please.
That does not go unnoticed. The first person says, "Here's the
Lance,
next speakers,"
followed by Kev,
but
followed
listen
by
for the reaction
Valeria.
from the mayor. I think.
Ms. Patel, that was a threat, what you said at the end, and so the officers are going to escort you out and take care of that.
Oh, and then they towed that woman's car while it was moving.
Yeah. That, by the way, that is my mother-in-law, so it actually all works out. So, all right, so that's step one in the story.
I didn't know Asian women wore the Karen haircut.
Oh yeah, Karen is one of the most unifying trends going on. It knows no color.
Karen Wong
of every shape. So here's a little bit more from that in the news coverage. We'll sort of get another angle of the police coming to get Mr.
That was a threat.
Here come the
What you
cops.
said at the end, and so the officers are going to escort you out and take care of that.
That was Riddhi Patel. She has been attending city council meetings to ask city leaders to pass a ceasefire resolution for the Israel-Hamas war. Soon after those comments, Patel was escorted out of the chambers, then arrested by Bakersfield police officers.
Her perp walk there is basically, so she's getting escorted out. And the best thing about this story, yes, she fucked around, she found out, but we even have the epilogue. So tough girl talking at the city council meeting. Well, here she is in court. Not so tough anymore.
A deputy public defender entered not guilty pleas on Patel's behalf to 8 counts of threatening a public official.
We could feel bad for
and
her,
10
but she
counts of
did
making
threaten to murder the entire city council. So bail was set at $1 million, and now she has to stay 500 yards away from all 10 members of the city council. So
$1 million? Holy shit!
Well, she threatened to kill 10 people.
That's great. I'm very happy.
Yeah, but what you guys don't understand, I understand where that emotion comes from. As we all know, as Bakersfield goes, so does the world. If there is a geopolitical legal hotspot anywhere on this earth, it is Bakersfield, California. And I think the most uplifting thing of all of it was a white cop and a black cop arrested an Indian woman. That's diversity in action, folks. That's DEI working for you, the American citizen.
It's a great point, Don. As someone who's been to Bakersfield, I do have to comment the fact that there's not one Mexican in any of those clips, and that might be the surprising thing. So, Don, I'm going to introduce you to somebody in a moment, but we have a super chat. Go ahead and
yes. Fun OK threw $10 at us and writes, I don't know what YMMV is.
Yeah.
That's the new Saab model.
Okay. This is, but dog vid, quite cute. Also big fan of EZ. Shout ins. Okay. I guess.
I mean, look, you give us $10, and as long as it doesn't get us demonetized, we'll say it.
Jay Wolfenstein throws $2 and says, "Oh, hey, full priced, Don. Oh, wait, wrong show."
So this is the full price, Don, not.
Oh, hey, Jeff Wolfenstein.
Oh, hey, Jeff Wolfenstein. So, Eric, does the name Andy Gannon ring any bells to you?
Yes, because I've been following your posts on X about your hunt to find.
Well,
you were tipped off that he said something not so nice.
So let's reset, because Don, I know you just haven't caught up on this show and you haven't seen last week's episode yet. But here's a gentleman named Andy Gannon. And he was the worst part of a really bad April Fool's Day prank in Rockford, Illinois. Shout out Cheap Trick. Rockford, Illinois, where the local morning show took over the TV morning show. The radio morning show took over. So here's the aftermath of that.
All right.
I am here. I am here too. Yes, a nice little April Fool's joke played by our friends at the Bowl on this Monday, April 1st. Thank you, Steve and Ryan. I'm Andy Gannon.
He's so not into it. He's so not.
Mr. Warmth, Andy Gannon.
All they did was the morning show, the local Tom and Dick, One guy was at the anchor desk. The other guy was at the weather desk, acting like they took over. Ha, ha, ha. It was nothing.
It was like not even 2 minutes, Don.
Yeah. And then Andy doesn't really sell it there with that response. And so we had a good laugh at that. But then someone tipped us off that Andy Gannon has a history of something horrible.
Yes. And by the way, he's got a real Club Soda Kenny demeanor. Thank you. Very good April Fool's joke. Very funny. So Chad's missing upper lip. Let us know that here's our boy Andy Gannon from Rockford, Illinois. And this is a story from, I believe, 2022. The Rockford NAACP demands action over news anchor Andy Gannon for an on-air stumble. According to Chad's missing upper lip, there was no video of the mishap. But as I like to always say on this show, the internet is always undefeated, and the internet made sure that we were able to see just what went wrong. This is somebody filming their television screen. You're going to hear them comment in the middle, and it's a little low, but I did my best to. But give a listen, and you'll see why Andy Gannon might have taken all personality out of his on-air demeanor after this.
Legend Minnie Minoso will be enshrined in Cooperstown. On Sunday, Minoso became one of 4 players from the Golden Age era to join the Hall this time around. Include players who competed from 1950 to 1969. Minoso was a 7-time Major League Baseball All-Star, 2-time Negro League All-Star. Is credited with breaking.
Oh, was there a glitch in my playback? Let's make sure we get that.
7-time Major League Baseball All-Star, 2-time Negro League All-Star.
Yeah, so old Andy really stepped in it, and he apologized. But I don't know. Rockford, Illinois might be one of those places where you can kind of get away with that. Just be like, yeah, I'm really sorry. I obviously didn't mean it. But before we comment, I have to share. It reminds me of one of my favorite videos, and I know we've played it before. And this has even been on WATP. It is one of my favorite videos, and let's just say there's different standards depending on what you're broadcasting.
Had a phenomenal day today. Nigger League Museum and Arthur Bryant's Barbecue.
Yeah, so that is unfortunately Glenn Piper from Oakland A's Television. Have you never seen that, Don?
Oh, I did. I'm looking at Eric's reaction.
I've seen that 1,000 times, and how? And the most impressive thing of it was idiot next to him did not react.
Yeah,
he did not react. He's going like this. He's just like, oh yeah, oh my.
Well, you know what,
God.
Eric? Since you're talking about the clip, I feel like I should probably show it again, so that makes it 1,001.
Had a phenomenal day today. Nigger League Museum and Arthur Bryant's Barbecue.
Oh no!
Had a phenomenal day today. Nigger League Museum and Arthur Bryant's Barbecue.
Yeah, it's it's some of the best 4 seconds in broadcast history.
Okay, if Beard Guy actually balled up his fist and just freaked and beat the shit out of him, he'd have been like on the cover of Time magazine for Man of the Year.
Or at least Jet magazine. You know, let's adjust. Don, what do you think? I mean, look, I don't ever want anybody to get canceled. I'm glad Andy Gannon, who is really a drip and doesn't belong on television, but the people of Rockford should decide to tune out whenever he's on. But poor Glenn Kuiper did lose his job. Do you feel like they should both have been back at the broadcast mic the next day?
Well, first of all, I don't know this Andy Gannon. He might be a nice guy in real life, but on the television, he has the charisma of lung cancer. So, the fact that he actually has a job is incredible. The good thing about the other guy who got fired is he immediately got a show on Compound Media. So it worked out well for him.
Well, for a little while, I hear that shows on Compound Media aren't as easy to come by as they used to be.
No, they are not. They are not. But if they like the way you speak, you can get on.
I'm gonna isolate this clip just in case you ever end up doing album promotion on Good Morning Rockford or whatever that show was that Andy Gannon's on. I hope that you guys get to spend some time together. Well, we're having fun. let's try to put the brakes on our fun and head on over to politics.
A lot of people talking about Christian and Carl's segment, making it great with who are these politics?
And when you think of politics and you think of fun, yeah, you might think of batshit crazy. There's a lot of other things, but you can always count on Marjorie Taylor Greene for one thing: great clips for this show. Here she is speaking about the Speaker of the House.
So I mean exactly every single word I say, and I'm not full of shit just like Mike Johnson is, and I'm actually going to follow through with actions instead of lie to people on television.
So that's an interview for Real America's Voice, which is one of the fringe outlet of, you could call them cable news channels, but what's cable anymore? It has a little bit more carriage than a channel we're going to use in a moment, but apparently it's fine to just say shit, so keep that in mind when you're doing morning radio tours, Don. Apparently shit's fine now.
Well, I guess so. I don't know. I don't know what is she reacting to? The new Speaker of the House?
Well, I mean, he's on his way out, is what it seems. He's the current, though.
Right.
And she feels like he's full of shit.
Well, it's like the Republican Party. They're like an old classic rock band. Like there's no original members. Everyone just gets fired eventually and replaced with somebody else. And
the House of Representatives is 2024 foreigner. Every once in a while, somebody you recognize might come out for 2 songs, but for the most part, you're like, I don't.
Every guy in Foreigner is like 23.
Yeah.
Hey, Eric, as a guy currently doing, rock radio, what's your favorite Foreigner record to try to hit the post with, to talk up over the intro?
Oh, it's got to be Feels Like the First Time.
Yeah, that is the correct answer.
I think that one's it. That's a good one.
That is a good one. I've never gotten the skills to hit the post, but maybe one day we should be so lucky. So we'll move over to Senator Tom Cotton. He has, I have no notes on this comment. I feel like there might have been some calls to Fox News, but he has what sounds to me like an ironclad solution to what we can do when protesters block traffic. People like Riddhi Patel, who stand in places like the Golden Gate Bridge. I think it was yesterday. There were hundreds of people blocking the main roadway to O'Hare Airport. And the JFK head chunk, the singer of Journey now is Christian's brother-in-law. Arnell is an amazing frontman. No, he doesn't look like Steve Perry, but he does sound more like Steve Perry than Steve Perry does.
Yes, but I love the inter-Asian racism that's going on during this show.
Yeah, well, see, now you're kind of understanding our demographic.
Yes, it does
a little bit more than
Koreans and Japanese and Chinese, all the same.
Yeah, exactly. And he's Filipino, so it's Arnell is. So it's all one umbrella. It's all one big bright yellow umbrella. So here's Senator Tom Cotton. This is what he thinks should happen when protesters block traffic.
Something like this happened in Arkansas on a bridge there. Let's just say I think there'd be a lot of very wet criminals that have been tossed overboard, not by law enforcement, but by the people whose road they're blocking.
Wait, he doubles down.
Their hands to a car or the pavement. Well, probably pretty painful to have their skin ripped off, but I think that's the way we'd handle it in Arkansas. And I would encourage most people anywhere that get stuck behind criminals like this who are trying to block traffic to take matters in their own hands. There's only usually a few of them, and there's a lot of people being inconvenienced. It's time to put an end to this nonsense.
Like I said, no notes, Tom Cotton. I don't vote in Arkansas, but if I did, you would have just won one vote from me. What do you think, Eric? Do you think that he's overreacting, or is this the appropriate response when people block us in traffic?
I mean, if it depends on what mood I'm in. I mean, if I'm all pissed off and I'm in the traffic, well, then yes, you actually want the people to die. But when I'm sitting here watching that, I'm like, nah, we can't do that.
Okay.
Let them alone.
What if you were sitting in the traffic and you checked the comments on one of your YouTube videos that Kevin Brennan has pointed out sometimes has 20 to 25 views. And somebody criticized how short the show was that day and that maybe they felt like you really phoned it in and you're not trying. Would that change your mood while you're sitting in traffic, Eric?
No, what would change my mood is the realization that I'm going nowhere in this endeavor to podcast. And that would probably make me want to kill all those people.
Are you talking about the Eric Zane show, or who are these broadcasters? Or column A, column B, one of those?
Well, I know this. I'm viewership poison. So if I'm on a camera, there's no one watching.
What do you think, Don? Have you ever wanted to maybe, I don't know, flip some protesters into the water like Senator Cotton says?
I think there's different ways to handle it. I agree with you. If I was in where is he, Arkansas? If I was in Arkansas, he would get one more vote, or as the Democrats call it, a dozen more votes. There's, you could easily have that woman from Bakersfield threaten to murder them all, and maybe they would disperse, or you could unleash a bunch of cats out there and round up those dogs from earlier and have them attack all the protesters.
Oh, that's a great idea. I think those dogs from earlier they should have let loose on the Golden Gate Bridge.
You saw what they did to a hubcap and a rim. They could do some real damage to some flesh.
Well, right now, as we're speaking, former President Trump is in a courtroom in New York. But the beauty of Donald Trump is I don't think he's ever had a bad week in his life. This is continuing to be a great week for the former president, as evidenced by this clip right here.
Anything that he's done to...
Oh, my mistake. He's talking about the current president, Joe Biden. So you probably could have guessed, but you need the context.
Anything that he's done turned out, everything he touches turns to shit.
And again, carried live on a news outlet. The word shit is one that we kind of share.
True. It's true.
It's true.
Wow.
I like when he adds that stuff to it. He's like, true. It's true.
Yeah.
I feel like we're not going to get a lot of complaints in our chat from the idea that everything Joe Biden touches turns to shit. But let us know. And if you want to say it with a super chat.
Let me just say this.
Yeah.
How many presidents, however many there have been in the United States, 40, whatever, the overall
46,
number.
Yes. Biden's 46. Yeah.
And we,
for
us to be alive at the moment when you say anything and it goes around the world in 5 seconds. We are living charmed lives where the president can stand in front of the people who are going to vote for him and can tell people to go fuck themselves, and everybody roars their approval. This is incredible. Thank God we are alive right now.
Salute to everyone who fought and sacrificed in World War II, but goddamn it, we're the greatest generation. I think you're definitely onto something, Eric. Obviously, the former president has his avid fans, and I'm sorry, Don, what were you going to say?
No, I was just going to echo what you said, which is you're right. He never seems to have a bad week. Like, he could have 350 fake charges against him, his personal life completely exposed, they raid Mar-a-Lago, he gets assassinated in the middle of a speech, and he'll go, "This was the greatest week ever. I'm making assassination great again."
Allegedly, of course, we don't advocate that, but yes.
No, well, the woman in Bakersfield does.
Yes,
yes, she does. Yeah. So we'll have to have Carl and producer Chris escort Don if he doubles down on that threat.
Just make sure it's a diverse group of people escorting me out of the show.
No, Carl and producer Chris are the least diverse 1-2 punch in all of broadcasting. But so obviously, President Trump has his avid fans, and our friends at Right Side Broadcast Network visited with some of them before a rally in Pennsylvania. And I have to commend them. It's in the name. They're the Right Side Broadcast Network. They're not like a lot of media where you have to try and figure out where they stand. They're going to let you know where they stand. The anchors will let you know where they stand. And the people they highlight will also kind of reflect like, oh, okay, yeah, I think I know where all their votes are going in November.
Your outfit.
Thank you.
Tell me a little bit about it.
Thomas of Wales. Danny Thomas, Marlo Thomas, Dave Thomas of Wendy's.
Gentleman's wearing a
They're
kilt
my
for our audio audience.
And past relatives.
Oh, very
They got the
neat.
money, and I got the good looks.
Sometimes it happens that way.
Uh,
Okay, well, I really like the get up. First time to see President Trump?
No, ma'am. I had seen Miss. Sorry, I had seen him up in
No, ma'am, you were right.
Wilkes-Barre when he was at the Santana Center 2 years ago.
And so, what is it about President Trump you love most?
I love the most. He saved America. He will save America. He will save the world.
And that's absolutely right. He is the man of the people, and he puts America first, but he is the man of the people all over the world. He loves peace. There was peace in this country and also in the world when he was president.
Here, here.
So the guy in the kilt's like, yeah, I didn't say all that. You know, I like him, but I don't think there was peace in the country. So that lays the groundwork for the other clips. I wanted everybody to kind of get a sense for RSBN, which perhaps people have only seen when it gets featured on this show. But the beauty of a Trump rally is the tailgating beforehand. It might as well be a Georgia Bulldog afternoon kickoff, at least as far as I don't know what this lady's name is, but let's just call her Miss White Claw is concerned.
Oh, okay. Oh, there you go.
She's got her White Claw. Everybody, this is the section right here.
Did I not get the memo out here or something?
But this is the section.
My goodness. All right. Well, hey, what should President Trump do on day one, by the way? Let's talk a little bit of policies real quick.
Day one, he is going to take over everything, and he's going to make America better again.
So that's when you're so drunk, you can't even remember what the G in MAGA is for. You're like,
yes.
I think that tattoo I have, that tramp stamp I have says MABA, right?
Wow.
That has to be what it says.
Jesus. Yeah, that's an exceptional group there again. But that, I mean, seriously, that's probably going to be well attended in terms of audience for the people that just love that shit.
Don, does that lady look familiar to you? Like possibly someone you might have encountered in a parking lot at the Meadowlands before a Dio show in like 1984?
Yes, perhaps. I mean, now if you go there now, there's it's gilfs galore, which I appreciate.
Sure,
But I know gilfs is spelled with a G, just like great is. The word better is not spelled with a G. But hey, listen, she's still a brain surgeon compared to Sheila Lee Jackson, who said the moon was made up of cheese, I think, is what she said.
Hey, Don, have you ever been to the moon? Do you know that for sure?
I am gaseous, so I consider myself an expert on gaseous material.
Sorry, Eric, you put up that comment, so why don't you go ahead and read it?
Chris Popke, who earlier said you're too good for this show, Don. And
that's true. That's very true, Don.
Don and Florentine ran a train on her.
It's not outrageous to think that could be true.
Yeah, look, it was the 80s. There was a lot happening. Even the on-air talent at RSBN, sometimes their patience wears thin for some of the people that they approach at these events. But to me, this is the best ever man-on-the-street interaction that I've seen, at least politically speaking, from a gentleman who in my notes is listed as probation guy.
Something about Trump. Okay. He's the best, man. Okay. He did the best that he could do from people that he had to go forward on.
I agree. So for the first,
if you got some shit in the back, if you got some shit behind you, you can't say I did it, right?
Well, for the first 2 years, hang on a second.
Been in office for 5 years.
Hey, Danny, hang on a second. For the first 2 years, he had a Congress that wasn't working with him.
Water. My mouth is dry.
You can have it if you want
to. I like taking shit from people.
You ain't taking my water.
Oh.
Yeah. So not only will he not let him talk, he tries to take his water, and then he's like, nah, I'm just going to steal it from you. Wow. But this is another guy that we would encounter at the parking lot. Maybe that's before, I don't know, that might be before the Big Four show. That guy looks like he's ready to fight, Don, that gentleman, probation guy.
Yes, Shanks. I have a feeling we will be having a reality show from Shanksville, Pennsylvania. Perhaps the Real Housewives of Shanksville coming to a Bravo channel near you.
Eric, I see. I'm sorry. Go ahead, but I want to make sure you get in the super chat.
That's where the fucking plane crashed too, right?
Yeah.
Oh
United
yeah.
Flight
Oh
93.
My God.
Yeah,
Jesus Christ. Cap Tamer 08 writes, these may be the same mongoloids up in PA who voted for John Fetterman.
I would say no because they're at a Trump rally. They're the ones. They're the ones who thought that Dr. Oz was going to win, and they're like, yeah, this is the guy that we should invest all of our time in. And Dwyer Christian with a great point. Is White Claw the new PBR? I think for chicks, yes, but I don't know. I've never tried a White Claw, so I guess I could find something amazing about them. But Don, what's the light beer that you're able to drink right now? I know politics got in the way last year for your drink of choice. So what is it for you to pregame out in a parking lot?
It's become incredibly difficult, as you know, and we've discussed this at length. My go-to has always been Miller Lite. But they got caught up in a little bit of this wokeness. Of course, they didn't get Bud Lighted, as Anheuser-Busch did. But, after researching like which beers I could drink, I realized that there were none left because Anheuser-Busch owns a third of them, and Coors owns a third of them, and then whoever owns the other. So there's no escape. So I figured, okay, out of all the gay beers are out, all the trans beers are out, and I'm just going to drink the metrosexual one that I've always loved, Miller Lite.
Right. Just you always go home again. And
yes,
I don't know.
Bon Jovi says you can't, but I can.
Yeah, that's true. He does say you can. Eric, I feel like you don't worry about that. You try to stay out of the politics and you just drink what you want to drink, right?
Oh, yeah. I mean, for fuck's sake, I wish that I still drank so that I could drink all the shit that no one's drinking just to get the looks and start the conversation. You know, if during that height of that anti Bud Light shit, I would have been drinking that just to get the looks.
Just to get to rile up the Kid Rock fans.
Yes.
Yes.
Well, we've had some fun with Trump, but I know there's always one or two voices in the chat that feel like our coverage is so one-sided. And for that fraction of the audience, I have a clip that I will entitle, Tell Me You Don't Know Anything About Gettysburg Without Telling Me You Don't Know Anything About Gettysburg.
And where our Union was saved by the immortal heroes at Gettysburg. Gettysburg, what an unbelievable battle that was, the Battle of Gettysburg. What an unbelievable, I mean, it was so much and so interesting and so vicious and horrible and so beautiful in so many different ways. It represented such a big portion of the success of this country. Gettysburg, wow. I go to Gettysburg.
Gettysburg, wow. I think
so. He said Gettysburg and Unions. That's not correct, right?
No, I don't think so. I think he was thinking about the Union Army, perhaps.
Okay, wait a minute. I totally fucked that up. I was thinking like workers' rights that whole goddamn time he was talking.
No. It was just, it is the brilliance of a man who maybe gets deposed as often as he does. I need to say that this was great, but also at the same time, so terrible, but beautiful, beautiful as well. You know, so it's like everyone heard what they needed to hear in that clip, incling me.
I think the big loser is
I
me.
I know about Geddy Lee. That's all. That's the only.
Yeah, the Geddy Lee address that Abe Lincoln gave during By Tour the Snow Dog, I believe, is when that happened.
Yes, he's going to make Gettysburg great again.
Yes, vote Getty in 2112. Don't ask me to make any more Rush jokes, Don. That's pretty much all I got. But we have
you're a working man. You can't help it.
Nice. We have a super chat from Ward Rutherford. Almost 2 pounds. Import tenants from Glasgow, Scotland. Best beer.
Oh, that's the shite beer. That's what the Jakies drink over there. The bums drink the tenants. And so, yes, I will.
All right. All right. Well, let's spend a few minutes in the world of sports.
Home of the hourly triple play.
W-A-T-B. Who are these sportscasters? Just listen and find out. Who are these sportscasters?
057. Nobody cares about your stupid beer. anyone who watches baseball knows the name Angel Hernandez. And if you know the name of any of the officials in any sport, it's always because they are not good at their job. And Angel Hernandez is so bad at his job, he's not allowed to really call games in the postseason. And if there was one place in baseball that you don't want to be known for doing a bad job and then clearly doing a bad job on the day, it's Yankee Stadium. So listen to the bleacher creatures, if you will, who are not fond of Angel Hernandez. Right now it's Angel sucks. And then it shifts to fuck you, Angel.
Oh, that's awesome.
Yeah, I only wish they were able to be a little bit louder.
Oh yeah, he has. He's really made a name for himself. I mean, you're getting full breakdowns on John Boy about balls and strikes.
Yeah.
It's like my favorite thing to follow that guy. He doesn't have long for baseball.
Well, we can only hope. Unfortunately for this show, someone who also is not long for the baseball world is Yankees radio broadcaster John Sterling. And we have played clips of his numerous times on this show and other shows I've been associated with. So this clip right here is monumental, and I'll explain after I play it.
And the pitch hit in the air to deep left. It is high. It is far. It is gone. It's a grand slam. Non dimenticar. That ball sure traveled far.
So, yes, the Giancarlo Stanton home run that has some musical accompaniment. That is the final home run call in John Sterling's illustrious career. More than 5,000 regular season games and hundreds of postseason games for the Yankees. I don't know what we're going to do on this show to not have John Sterling clips to play. And I'm going to pat myself on the back for being very restrained here. I only have 2 additional clips. The first one I want to remind everyone why we love John Sterling so much is this one right here. This is also an at-bat from Giancarlo Stanton. This is in it was when the wild card was still a single elimination play-in game between the Red Sox and the Yankees. It's a pretty big stage. Let's hear how John Sterling handled this at-bat.
To Stanton. There it goes. Deep left. It is high. It is far. It is gone out of the ballpark. A Stantonian home run. Now, what did I do wrong? What did I see wrong? He's at first base.
Oh no!
What did I do wrong? He's at first base. Yeah.
Wow.
He didn't want to look. He didn't want to be a show off and run all the way around the bases. I mean, that gets old after a while. It's like, no, I'm going to stop at first. I'm good here.
Hey, you might hurt the pitcher's feeling. You know.
Well, I have to jump in because while you were playing that, I was kind of like, okay, I got to figure something out here. What happened to John Sterling? Why is he no more?
So he retired yesterday, effective immediately.
Why?
Initially, they said he was going to retire. They were going to do a ceremony on Saturday. He'd really scaled, but he's like 85.
Okay.
So he'd really, although to be fair, Bob Uecker's like 90 and he's still doing it. But he was only doing home games. He'd really cut back his schedule. And look, I mean, we can speculate, but for somebody to be like, yeah, I'm already done, it might have gotten some news that wasn't the best. And Dwyer Christian says his brain is pudding. So, yeah, it was very abrupt. I think a lot of us thought we were going to get, I don't know, 20 plus more games this season to pull clips from. And that is no longer the case. And Chris Popke to Dillinger fans, 84 live viewers. In any case, there is, of course, going to be one John Sterling clip that will always be the GOAT. And I know we've shared this before. We actually did this on the test show for Who Are These Broadcasters. But let's go back to not too long ago. I think this is last season.
Now the 3-2 swung on, a pop foul back here.
Ow!
Oh! It really hit me. I didn't know it was coming back that far. So once again, it'll be a 3-2. And Holmes ready to deal. A ground ball to third. Donaldson squares, throws to first in time. Ball game over. Yankees win. The Yankees
win.
now
So let's see it again.
3-2 swung on.
And yes, he's in his
A
mid-80s.
foul back here.
Ow! I've never seen that shit, dude.
He described that as a glancing blow, but if the retirement announcement had happened the next day, I think we all would have understood, right?
Well, couldn't Susan Waldman also have retired simultaneously, or do we get another 10 years of that gorgeous, melodic Boston accent that she has not lost in the last 75 years of her life?
Oh my goodness, John, of all the most outrageous things I've ever seen, Roger Clemens is in the owner's box.
Here comes Joe Girardi.
She's still going to be around. And if you mentioned Susan Waldman, I think it's important to shout out Artie Lang, who had the great line once. He was filming something at Yankee Stadium, and one of the players said, "Hey, man, what are you doing here?" He said, "Oh, I won a Susan Waldman lookalike contest." We have so much more to get to, but Easy, I know you've got limited time, so I'm going to backburner some of our sports stuff because I need to visit some tremendous moments in broadcasting history while you're still with us.
Flashback. WATB. Way back into time. Let's find out who are these broadcast histories.
Well, they say that only the good die young, but sometimes the good live long lives, running for thousands of yards, starring in one of the greatest comedies of all time, getting away with double murder and, being held fiscally responsible, then going to jail for stealing the memorabilia. Yes, we remember a true American hero today, Orenthal James Simpson. And I think that the OJ I'd like to remember is this one from the interview he did with BET, which I'm sure he didn't even know what channel that was, but the interview he did with BET right after he was acquitted.
That in a cell by myself, they wouldn't let me speak to another prisoner. When I walked down the halls, they made all the other prisoners turn their backs to me. I mourn, and I'm still mourning for the rest of my life. I'll mourn, but I should have the right to go outside. I enjoy golf. I should have the right to play golf. I am just as innocent as Denise Brown, who is having love affairs. I'm just as innocent as you, who I don't know what you do as a hobby, but I'm sure you've been doing it.
The interviewer, of course, is a African-American gentleman. So OJ himself is assuming you're probably guilty of something. But I love defiant OJ. Cuba Gooding Jr. could never bring that to the screen in that OJ miniseries that he played the Juice in. I love angry OJ. What's your favorite OJ, Don?
Dead.
Great answer.
Yeah, this is the most perfect version of OJ since he ran for all those yards with the Buffalo Bills. And I was in Northeast Ohio this past weekend doing some shows, so I drove down to Canton to the Football Hall of Fame, and it's very nice now because not only did they retire his football number, they've retired his prison number, which is only fitting.
I think that's fair. And then of course they should also retire the number 2 for the number of confirmed kills that the Juice has. Oh, and Fucker Arter says, "Oh, hey, Don, pretty man." All right.
Oh, hey, fucker.
So there's another legendary post-trial interview OJ did. It was for the BBC with an American comedian named Ruby Wax. And here the Juice is kind of explaining his post-jail lifestyle.
Mood on my vitamin E so I can be ready when that time comes when some girl says, "Hey, Juice, take me." But the availability of women now is more than it's ever been in my life, which I find really strange. Asshole! Asshole!
Now they cut to him in a car yelling at a DA.
DA of LA. I was in jail for 16 months. Most of my dreams were in a sexual nature.
Yeah, is that the last thing you want to hear from the Juice? Is at least he's not dreaming about committing the murders again. He's like, yeah, I've moved past that. That's the old stuff.
Okay.
Go
All of that screaming asshole on TV. This is not that far removed from when he was acquitted.
Yeah.
This has all been his world. We've just kind of been in it. This whole world has been his by his own set of rules for the longest time. It's remarkable to me that no one killed that guy, frankly.
Well, I believe that the Drudge Report had the best headline was "Cancer Murders OJ." So people couldn't do it, but cancer did. That Ruby Wax interview also features this interaction with the public. The thing that we have to love about the Juice is how willing he always was to accommodate his fans, and his fans loved him.
I've never personally shaken hands with a murderer. It's good to see you.
Thank you. Very nice meeting you.
Doesn't that hurt? Doesn't that hurt your feelings?
No. I've never shaken hands with a murderer. And he's like, oh, thank you. Nice to meet you. Bless you, Juice.
He always has the ability to roll with it. Even then, I mean, he had a person stone in his face. He didn't miss a fucking beat. And then all that shit when he would do hello, Twitter world, everybody's throwing shit at him. And it's just, how does he do that?
I mean, much like Howard Stern or Dan Rather in his prime, Ruby Wax can always get the best out of an interview.
She gets the best out of the Juice for sure.
Yes.
And Dwyer Christian, look, Carl likes to celebrate a specific part of OJ's career. We like to celebrate his entire body of work here on this show.
Carl's a fuckface. He's like, oh yeah, rest in peace to the Juice. I'm like, what the fuck is wrong with you, you stupid idiot?
He said rest in power.
Whatever.
So we're going to go through this very quickly because I want to respect Eric's time. This is my second favorite memory of O.J. Simpson, when for some reason he thought it was a good idea to go on a live call-in show to promote his book. And yes, they took live phone calls.
Kevin, what's your question for OJ?
Hi, good show, dude. My kid Chris was wondering, do you think it was a bigger feat to break 2,000 yards in one season or slice two necks in one night?
I'm having a little trouble, Kevin, hearing you.
I do love that move. You know what? I didn't hear the question. I'm not really sure what you had to say there, but and Tommy Getting Made says you can't squeeze the Juice. He is indeed too loose. I think that's a fair statement. So obviously that call-in show goes on, but yeah, Carl in the chat, Carl Hamburger, HAMBURGER in the live chat, telling us about 1973, 143 yards per game. Hard to argue with that, Eric, right?
Oh yeah, sure. You weren't even alive then, fuckface.
Well, he looks like he was. So one more call. I think that OJ might be a little blindsided by this one.
Hey, Alex.
Hey, how you doing?
Not bad.
Juice, can you hear me, Juice?
Yes, I can hear you, buddy.
Yeah, remember when you played for the 49ers?
Yeah.
Yeah, did you kill Bill Walsh?
Oh.
I do love the drive-by nature of that. Did you kill Bill Walsh? And yeah, so I love those. And Eric, fucker Arter, I love Frosted Tips, man. No speak bad of him. We don't. Well, I don't speak bad of Carl. I like to be a guest on Point Dabble Point, so I say nothing but kind things about Carl. Eric Zane doesn't care, although he still did your show anyway. He did your show recently to talk about that Elisa Jordana video. So obviously, you and Carl have a very complicated relationship. Before we let you go, Eric, this will take us to basically the post where you have to leave. And I know that most people have seen this, but honestly, I was shocked. One of my best friends in the world had never seen this, and I shared it with him after OJ passed away. To me, this is the defining moment. It is also the best phony phone call of all time. This is, of course, from Peter Jennings' ABC coverage of the White Bronco chase. And somehow Captain Jenks got through to the control room, and they not only took his call, but they stayed on his call for a long time. And of course, the hero of this clip, the great Al Michaels. Let's enjoy.
Just going to ask everybody to be quiet for a moment. We have on the phone with us as well Robert Higgins, who lives in the neighborhood and is on the ground and can see inside the van. Mr. Higgins.
Yes, how are you?
Just about as tense as you are, sir.
Oh, my Lord, this is quite the tensest.
What can you see?
Oh, what I'm looking at right now is I'm looking at the van, and I see OJ kind of slouching down, looking very, very upset. Now, look at here. He look very upset. I don't know what he gonna be doing.
Can you see him doing anything specific? Is he merely sitting there?
He is just sitting around, just looking like he be very nervous.
Can you hear anything, Mr. Higgins?
It's just too much commotion. I be in the back of a news van, so I can't really hear that good, but I can see it all. And I see OJ. I see OJ, man, and he looks scared. And I would be scared because there's cops all deep in this.
Thank you, Mr. Higgins.
And baba booey to y'all.
I'm going to make sure we get to Al Michaels, but even Captain Jenks cannot believe how long they're keeping him on the air, because he clearly had like 15 seconds worth of shit. And like, oh, wait, I can do more? All right, I'm going to lean into the voice. I see OJ, and he's scared. I want to make sure we get to Al Michaels before Eric.
The driveway of O.J. Simpson's home in Brentwood. Clearly an effort being made to have him come out of the vehicle. In the doorway of the house, his friend, Al Cowling.
Peter, by the way, just for the record, this is Al Michaels. That was a totally farcical call. Lest anybody think that was somebody who was truly across the street. That was not. He said something in code at the end that's indicative of the mentioning of the name of a certain radio talk show host.
Okay, thanks, Al.
So he was not there.
All right, we have them on every coast. Thank you very much. Not the first time nor the last time will have been had, but...
Not the first time, nor the last time will have been had, but never so spectacularly had. Go ahead, Eric.
Why would he draw attention to it in such a particularly poignant way? Why would he do that? What he's supposed to be a professional. What a dumb fuck he is.
But it makes the clip 1,000 times better.
It does.
That was a totally farcical call. And look, we've celebrated Al Michaels' entire career on this show as well. Eric, I know you have to run. Don and I are going to go through some fun Ozzy clips. Let everybody know where they can catch you.
Oh, all you got to do is just search Eric Zane Show Podcast wherever you download shows. They do it Monday through Friday, and it's free.
And we'll see you next Tuesday right back here. And we'll get to some of the stuff that we weren't able to get to this week. But thank you, the great Eric Zane.
Oh,
now this means
thank you, Don.
The adequate Eric Zane. Yeah. Now this means I have to manage the super chats. So
yes, good luck. Good luck.
This will be what get them to send a lot more.
All right.
So thank you,
See
the
you guys.
great Eric Zane. So I don't even think he has anywhere to be. I think he just remembers our Kiss segments that we've done. I told him we're not doing Kiss this time. I've got some top-notch Ozzy interviews, and I'm going to admit they start a little slow. There is a largely visual element to it. But before we get into that, have you ever interviewed Ozzy? Have you ever been in a room with Ozzy? I mean, obviously you've seen him on stage. I think we all have. But do you have any interaction with Ozzy?
I met him one time years and years before that metal show. I was working actually behind the scenes at MTV, and he came in. I don't even remember what he was promoting. But I did meet him, and I met Sharon. I think they were somewhat newly married at the time, and he signed an autograph for me and everything. And yeah, he was awesome. But no, I don't have any great. I wish I had a great legendary Ozzy story. Florentine has. I won't blow it in case you ever have him on, but he's got the great story of following Ozzy into the bathroom and peed next to him. And I'll let him, when he comes out, he can fill in the rest of the story. But
I'll definitely
let's just say it's whatever your creepy mind can imagine. It was that uncomfortable.
By the way, Florentine has a show on Sirius's Ozzy's Boneyard channel, so I think we all know what happened in that bathroom, Don. I think there's only one we have. I want to get into this super chat. Captain Mero 8. Kids today have no idea what a slime bag OJ was, just like with Bill Clinton. But Ryan Murphy made shows about both of them, so hopefully kids are able to learn. The other thing that kids don't have, I think, is an appreciation for Ozzy. I think that he will always be the Prince of Darkness, but boy, that reality show didn't really help that reputation time.
There is a whole generation, Christian, that doesn't really know about they've heard it. They've heard it on the show and all that, but they don't really understand it because their introduction to Ozzy is watching the Osbournes television show. And so instead of seeing him as Iron Man, they seeing him as a man ironing.
It's exactly the case. And by the way, the smartest member of the Osbourne family, I believe her name is Allison, the other daughter, who was like, no, I'm not being on your stupid show. And if I had to guess, I don't know anything about it, I assume she's the happiest of everyone in that family because no one knows who she is.
No, she told me that for a fact when she was serving me at the Waffle House the other day. She mentioned that she was so glad that she didn't get any of that money.
I hope you tipped the full 20% instead of your usual 12, Don. I think when you realize that it's like this came, Ozzy's seed created this. It's the least I can do. The least I can do is pay the cost of a CD. So here's an interview that apparently it's listed on YouTube as being banned. This was in Helsinki, and you're going to see Ozzy in this one. I believe it's 1989. And we'll take a look. And Ozzy doesn't do a lot of talking. He saves that for the next one we have some clips from. But I want to set the stage for Ozzy with this.
Botulism.
Robert Palmer said in Montreux that in every band there are stereotypes, like the guitar player is into women and whiskey, and the drummer is completely crazy, and the bass player just stands behind and wants to be invisible. And then there is the frontman. Is it like this?
No, it's talking shit. Everyone has their own personality, I know what you're saying, but it's just that Zakk's into men.
Zakk's into men.
Oh, shit. To prove it. I'm invisible, yeah. Definitely.
This is why I let the clip go this long. Yes, Geezer Butler's next to him, and he barely gets to talk in the 10 minutes of this.
I loved him when he was Doug Henning back in the day.
It's all an illusion, Don. This iteration of Ozzy's band was an illusion, actually.
Black Sabbath was all an illusion, and illusion is Black Sabbath.
So there's in his sort of Ozzy way, you have to kind of get through some of the nonsense. He does have something strangely. I know the Ozzy that you just saw with the glazed over eyes. You wouldn't think he would say anything insightful, but he does have some thoughts on MTV, which obviously in 1989, this is the peak of MTV's powers.
Change one thing in the rock and roll business, aside from interviews, what would it be?
The bear. The guitar player. What would it be?
What would it be, Oz?
What's going to happen eventually? MTV is going to burn itself out. And it's going to go. I hope to think that we'd get right back to basics. But I don't think it will do.
Some great camera work here. But I'm glad it shows us a young Zakk Wylde.
When Geezer and I were playing, and suppose Randy, in the early days, it was like a mystique. There's no mystique anymore.
So through all that,
that's like that. That's like that one take shot in the middle of Boogie Nights. Very similar kind of camera work there. I like how there's no cutting. It's just they're following right on point every piece of the conversation.
Yeah, whatever Ozzy and Zakk had dipped into before that interview, the cameraman also had a little toot, I think. This is such a deadpan joke in our final clip from that interview.
Wait. Let me point something out. He's the guy who just said MTV's going to burn itself out is as burnt as you could possibly be in an interview situation. He's so burnt he's Cajun in that interview.
And he's also, as we said, MTV is what a generation of people know him from. It's from that dumb
When Ozzy's saying you're going to burn yourself out, you're in a lot of trouble.
Yeah, and this is what passes for a joke when Ozzy's in the state. At least I hope it was a joke. The worst gig of your life.
I'll see you tomorrow night. When they bombed Hiroshima.
So, the worst gig of his life. I think that joke works. When was the worst time you ever bombed? But he's like, the brain wasn't really connecting at that point. You ever give a line that is funny, but then you realize I didn't understand the question that set it up, Don? Has that ever happened to you?
As a matter of fact, I've made a career on it. In fact, my whole new album is based on jokes not really making all that much sense. But that's the thing about Ozzy, though. Even when he's like that, I get a contact high just from watching that clip. I mean, but he always manages to. He's like stoned, really, really stoned Rodney Dangerfield without his balls hanging out of his underwear. He just always can come up with a one-liner. All right, that one didn't really land, but he still had the wherewithal to, give it a shot. So that's why we love the guy.
Well, we're about to visit with a very different Ozzy, physically and, let's just say consciousness level. This is an interview with Night Flight, which was a show that I watched routinely as a lad.
Some guy went at one gig.
Oh, I forgot I need to set up. This is, obviously, everybody knows the story about Ozzy biting the head off of a bat, and he always said that it was unintentional. My thought is that it never actually even really happened, but maybe it did. I don't know. Do you have a thought on that before we let him talk about biting the head off a bat, Don? Do you think it really happened, or it's just like the legend and he kind of ran with it?
No, I believe it happened, but it is straight out of the Alice Cooper school of, never admit that it didn't happen if it's getting you publicity, right? That's what his old publicist, used to say when the old myth of somebody brought a live chick, or no, the Alice Cooper threw live chickens out to the crowd and the audience tore him to pieces. Well, that never happened, but his manager's like, well, but don't tell anybody.
Yeah. All publicity is good publicity.
Yeah.
So whether it happened or not, Ozzy knows, and he does have some thoughts on it. So this interview does imply that it actually happened.
Some guy went at one gig on the last tour, threw a bat on stage, and every night we do a gig, you get all these crazy people that come and throw this junk on stage, and I thought it was one of these rubber bats. I pictured it was a real bat.
Was it alive?
Well, it was till I bit the head off it,
Yes. The next thing we want to get out of the way.
You can't say anything about that now, can you?
Well, sure, you can say anything you want.
I mean, the taste of bats is very salty. Tastes of salt.
Tastes like anything else?
Well, yes, but I can't really say that on the air, can I?
No. Next.
So this Ozzy's so much funnier because he's able to, he has it all together, to whatever extent. So he's able to be like, well, yeah, but we can't say what it tastes like. So I learned from Ozzy that apparently biting the head off a bat tastes like jizz, and I never knew that until I watched this interview. Maybe you did know, Don, but only Ozzy could tell us.
Well, it's. As a comic, I've seen his progression from the World War II material that didn't really go over that well previously.
Yeah, I'm glad you mentioned that, because from the same interview, Ozzy has a very interesting response for his influences. This is the same interview. And also, it reminds you like, man, the 80s were a fun time. Because imagine if he said this now. Even the same Ozzy Osbourne said this now.
Your ideas from working in a mortuary when you were 15?
Adolf Hitler.
What do you mean by that, Ozzy?
Adolf Hitler had a charisma in a bad way.
Bad way, Don.
I kind of admired him. He was a freak. He was a lunatic. But he had something about him, you know. I know it was all bad what he did. It was terrible what that guy did. He killed all these people and whatever. But it was like,
whatever.
He had something about him, you know. And I admired him, not for what he was, but for people. And I suddenly stopped to myself, hey man, if somebody put that in the positive way, for the good of mankind, and that's all I mean, whatever anybody says about me, I may be the biggest lunatic that you've ever met in your life, guys, but I'm here for you guys. I'm here for people. I'm here for enjoyment. I'm here for giving people my life.
Yeah, so I want to be the fun Hitler, I think is what the Ozman was trying to say there. I'm going to assume that... yeah, he's going through a phase. I'm going to assume Sharon wasn't there that day when he gave that interview because of the fact that the tape wasn't smashed immediately afterwards. Also, again, different time. But yeah, was that what you were alluding to when you talked about some of Ozzy's early material that he doesn't do anymore?
Well, no, I was talking about the bombing of Hiroshima.
Oh, yeah.
From the other clip, which also, I hope your wife wasn't offended by that. But here's the thing. Hitler jokes, not just for Gino anymore. And it was I wouldn't open with it. He's better sticking to the blue material, the jizz material. I saw some maturity in his act during that comment, because he could have easily said it tastes like chicken, but he didn't go the hacky route. He went for the dick joke, and that shows a lot of progress in my book.
That does show a lot of progress. A couple more clips before we wind it down. So in those earlier clips, we saw a very young Zakk Wylde, and he certainly lives up to the name Zakk Wylde. Your buddy Eddie Trunk was recently talking about, I think it was the episode that you were in studio with him, promoting your new album, No Sleep Till McSorley's, now available for pre-order, that he once did an interview for VH1 Classic with Zakk that went so far off the rails. And it did unfortunately never air because I tried really hard because I really wanted to spend time with that interview with you today. But I do believe it never aired. But we do have one that did air that probably isn't quite as extreme as that. It's backstage with an Australian interviewer. And this is consistent with the Zakk Wylde that we all know and love.
The secret to your longevity, because, it's very...
So again, I'm doing a bad job setting up the clips. He's talking about how long he's been married.
Yes.
And so the interviewer asks, what's the secret?
The secret to your longevity, because, it's very cool, but it's very un-rock and roll to actually be together for so long.
Oh, no, she can suck schlong like it's nobody's business. And, that is the secret to a happy marriage.
There you go, ladies.
And I can stick my tongue up her ass and, just and go down on her like it's nobody's business. So, I'm good at eating ass and, she's good at sucking schlong and frolicking the balls.
There's an in-depth look at Zakk Wylde's married. Now, you're here with BLS?
Right there. Yeah, that's marriage tip. And after 3 kids and everything like that. And then, with the kids, because it's an insane asylum, so you got to make sure you got plenty of beer around. So...
For you or the kids?
Yeah, for both. You know what I mean? So, it's just
a little bit of ouzo in their drinks and it fixes everything.
I'm Irish and German. So, even when I was born, my mother was nursing me, there wasn't milk coming out of her breast. It was just flat out brew.
I like this interviewer. I have no idea who she is. She's not offended. She's clearly a rock chick, an Australian rock chick, and she's having fun with him. But, I think that, this is still a simpler time, though, where you could say to a female reporter, like, oh, yeah, she sucks schlong like nobody's business. Oh, and I eat her ass. How can you not love the person that gives those answers in an interview, Don?
Everyone complains, especially like when they interview sports athletes. They always, it's a team game and, I'm proud of what we've accomplished. And, we might have lost today, but we're going to go out tomorrow and try again. And no, Zack's just like, no, she sucks my schwanz. I put my tongue in her ass. He alludes to the fact that he gives the kids beer. And I know Zakk, and he only ever let them drink light beer. He would never give them a heavy beer. And, that's as honest as it gets.
Right. And when they were newborns, he'd give them like O'Doul's, one of the non-alcoholic just to get them used to it. But then by the time you're 2, you should be able to, have some kind of brew in that bottle, as Zakk was alluding to.
He was sober for a while right before that interview. And what happened was he asked Joe Biden, should I start drinking again? And Joe Biden said, don't. And for whatever reason, it makes everybody else stop what they're doing, but it didn't make, and Zakk started drinking again. So I don't know what happened.
The former president, or no, well, soon to be former president, didn't really convince him. This has to be a comment that the record label probably didn't love, and I hope that you don't answer when anybody asks you about your new album. No Sleep Till McSorley is now available from Metal Blade Records. This lovely Australian reporter, who I might look for more videos of, asks him about the new album.
Album going. Tell me a bit about it.
This thing sucks so bad. It's just like, all you got to do is just buy it and just use it as a beer coaster. Because this is quite possibly the worst crap shit music you have ever heard in your life, in the history of music. It sucks. So, but I'm proud of it. Because my father always said, son, if you're going to do anything, do it right and do it big. And this thing sucks big.
This is the new single, Concrete Jungle Suck?
Yeah, it's crap.
The film clip's awesome.
Yeah, the video sucks. The song sucks. It's just pathetic. And no one can out-pathetic us. That's why we're Black Label.
I don't believe any of it actually sucked, and I don't think he actually thought it. But also, not seeing the opportunity of people are either going to buy this album or they're not. let's try and have some fun. Have you ever had anybody give such an honest answer? Doing interviews about hey, how's the new album? And it's actually not that good. I don't even know if people should buy it, Don.
Yeah. You never hear about that till years later, where they go, "Yeah, that album was okay. We were a little rushed and all that." But Zakk this sucks. This one sucks. I mean, the other ones were good, but this one is terrible. Of course it's not, but you do when you go through it, when you're doing publicity and you're doing one interview after the other, it's like how can I just fuck with somebody now? And he was doing so well up to that point. I guess he figured, I'll really wind her up with the album sucking.
Yeah, and there's clearly there's nobody from the label, there's no publicist, there's nobody that's like, hey, I think we should be done. Maybe we'll do a phone call later in the week. And by the way, what you're talking about, there is a clip that if we do this enough, we'll have to sit through an interview that Gene Simmons and Paul Stanley did on the Flo and Eddie TV show, the guys from the Turtles. They were promoting music from The Elder, which is Kiss's concept album that, pretty much everybody realizes was a colossal failure. But they were talking about how it's the best album they ever made, Don. To your point, every album is always the best album as long as it's the newest album. So we've got one final clip from Zakk, and thank you for hanging out for the whole show, Don, and everybody in the chat. We'll get caught up on Super Chats if you've got any more. But this is our last clip with Zakk talking about some things that might lead to disappointment. He's still kind of on the thing about how disappointing BLS might be for audiences.
Just like you going with a guy and he tells you, he goes, I only got a 1-inch dick. And then when he whips it out, it is. Where you go, well, I can't get upset.
I can't say that's ever happened to me.
It's not when he's got a 14-inch schlong, you know what I mean?
Can't say that's ever happened to me either.
Down, it's like, boing, you just go, yeah, I knew it. Yeah, at least he admitted it.
I certainly don't want that to happen. Now,
I love the honesty, look, I'm telling you that I have a 1-inch dick. And then look, there it is. So I assume, Zakk, you must know a little bit, right? I mean, I'm sure he was on that metal show and, all that. But he is clean now. Am I correct? Or am I telling tales out of school? I feel like he is, though, right?
Well, when I was on tour with him in 2019, he had just gotten to 10 years sober. So
right.
Do the math on that. So we're talking about 13, 14 years sober. Yeah. And the great thing, though, about it, and which is so good, obviously, when you watch that clip, you're like, oh, boy, it's slightly over the top there. But he's still crazy and he's still fun. He's just now caffeinated crazy.
Right.
He's got 6 different coffee machines working all at the same time. He's blowing the fuses on the tour bus. But it's still the same conversation. He's just a lot more in control of it. and that's a good thing, because as much as he was joking around about his albums sucking, certainly his music is awesome with Black Label, and we almost had him back with Ozzy, which would have really been awesome to see those two together again, like on a real thing, not just like a fake sporting event or whatever, like really do one more time around the world.
Yeah, I mean that Power Trip festival out in Coachella was supposed to be like, you know what, Ozzy's going to play one more time, and then you realize, like John Sterling from the New York Yankees, you don't even have one more time in you, unfortunately, and that is indeed sad. 3Ds has some theories. She wanted it.
She definitely wanted it.
And that's probably why Zakk led with "I'm a happily married man. I might be fucked up, but and look, you know, being the single band member, maybe in that back room, you know, you could kind of swoop in at that moment. Well, thank you so much, Don, for being with us. Please let everybody know where they can find you and how to get. I've heard the single from it, but I'm going to assume the whole album is as great as the single, unlike the BLS album that Zakk's talking about. All of No Sleep Till McSorley's, I'm sure, is tremendous.
No, I released the one track that is actually good on the album. All the other tracks suck. There's a really, really shitty track being released Thursday, the day before the album comes out. So look out on your my social media for that. But yes, it is available for pre-order. Of course, that is the famous cover from No Sleep Till Hammersmith by Motorhead, who were kind enough to let me borrow their artwork and font. So very proud of that. And that comes out Friday, but for pre-order now. And I'll have CDs and vinyl at the live gigs, so come out and see me live. And if you're old school like me, you can get the light or dark colored ale vinyl will be available. So don't miss it.
All right, but it's not ale with Dylan Mulvaney on the can. It's not that kind of ale. So
no, McSorley's ale, light or dark, two different variants. It'll please all beer drinkers and hellraisers.
Well, obviously, EZ gave his plugs on the way out, but make sure you find the Eric Zane show. And of course, my podcast, The Blackcast, BLADTCAST. And we look forward to having you back on again soon, Don, with, you know, doing a victory lap on the tremendous success of No Sleep Till McSorley's. You can find me on Twitter and Instagram at ChristianDMZ. We've had a fun, long show today with everybody in the chat. And there have been some good super chats, but the high dollar one, well, isn't the best one, but it's the one that I am going to read. And Bob doing a COVID test. I believe you're speaking of the great Bob Levy. That is not our winner, but it is a late submission. Captain Jenks did that OJ call. Captain Jenks is amazing. There was that moment after 9/11 where the great Captain Jenks said that he was going to retire from funny phone calls, but then he realized that the one thing that would mean is if Captain Jenks stops pranking people, then the terrorists win. I mean, he called Rosie O'Donnell live on her show, pretending to be the mayor of Philadelphia. So as somebody who has obviously been a part of the world of prank phone calls, where do you rank the great Captain Jenks from the Howard Stern show, Don?
Well, he's got to be he's got to be a top 10. I would say, I mean, he's never blocked out the sun with his scrotum, but his work really does stand the test of time.
Yeah. And of course, the messaging today is for No Sleep Till McSorley's, but terrorizing telemarketers is prank phone calls that everybody can get behind because they're people that called Florentine. You didn't just go through the phone book and start looking for people to bother. He was trying to be terrorized, so he terrorized back. Well, that is all the time we have for now. As always, this is Christian Bladt reminding you every mic is a hot mic, but YMMV, but dog video, quite cute. Also, big fan of EZ. Shout-ins. Yeah, so if you'd given me a little bit more, maybe that would have been my sign-off. You know what? I'm going with this one. Kids today have no idea what a slime bag OJ was, just like with Bill Clinton. We'll see you next Tuesday, everybody.